can say anything you wouldn't mind. Like 10 pennies, I change up on a dime. I'm pretty diverse, got a good sense of just how much I'm worth. Just haven't been heard by that person preferred. This ought to do it, I need that referral. It's a cold world, I feel like Gucci go bird. Put on a sweatshirt like Earl. We fairly odd, our future is broad. PSG mob, ASAP, how we need all the guap. Got my dudes doing head nods. Yep. Anyone else is a deja vu of themselves. I can outdo myself on the next song. It cannot be done, you can ask my mom. I'm the prodigal son, I don't keep old flows, not one. I make a hit then run, stack my paper like a mailman truck. Because it's all about the funds now. My girls just wanna have fun.
What's up?
What's going on, everybody? Week 2 recap from the Jaguar. It is me, Matthew Grieve, and my co-host,
The second best Josh Allen in Jacksonville?
the second best. Some might say the best.
No, not after Sunday. We'll talk about his performance on Sunday, but I cannot claim to be the best after what he did on the field on Sunday. So
Yes. Well, anyways, before we get started, a word from our sponsor. Support from Manscaped is, well, support for the Jaguars brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming as well as above the waist. But today we're going to talk about below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. That rhymed. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, includes me, with this exclusive offer for you, our fans of the Jaguar. That's 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code FANBATTLE. Bringing it up. At manscaped.com. And if my math is correct, that's about 12 million balls.
that is.
Is that right?
That's about right. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize, too, they were sort of founded on the mission to help bring awareness to testicular cancer. So not only is it not only do their products work, but it's a lot of the proceeds are going to a good cause.
Very good. Very good. And here's that code for you again, 20% off and free shipping. Now I know we have you fans over there in London. You get free shipping as well. 20% off.
Oh, nice.
Fan battle.
International.
Here we go.
I think we have our first comment. Hold on. We have our first comment. This is a historic thing. Shout out to my man Theo. What's up, buddy? Yep. I like our chances to win the AFC South too, on top of all these other garbage teams that we have around here. But also nice to see you're a Braves fan. That makes 3 of us. So
you know what's crazy? What's crazy is this past weekend, I had something that's really, I don't know if it's ever happened to me as a fan, is all my teams went undefeated. The Braves won, the Seminoles, I'm a huge Florida State fan.
Oh no.
The Jaguars won, and I'm a big Appalachian State fan. I live up here, so all of them went 4-0. Now the Jaguars are usually the one that drags me down, but they pulled through this week. Let's go.
Yeah.
So let's get down to it. Our first thoughts. So what do you? How do you feel about the game? Do you feel like you did last week? This time?
We told you what was going to happen, folks. If you're watching this live, you watch it later, you listen to it later. If you listen to last week's episode, we told you what was going to happen. The Colts cannot win in Jacksonville. They're allergic to it. They just can't do it. We told you what was going to happen, and that's what happened. It was just my overall thought was they just cleaned the Colts clock, man. Like it never at any point felt like the Colts were going to get into the game and actually challenge like the Jags, which is just a weird, surreal feeling as a Jaguars fan to see your team just completely in control. And every time the Colts did anything that was remotely good, the Jags just answered right back. And 24 points later, victory was in their hands once again. So first victory also against Matt Ryan for the franchise. So interesting stat there. So I don't know, man. I'm feeling as good this week as I was last week, but I don't know. It was an easy win.
For me going in, I was so confident in the win that I actually took a weekend trip down to Asheville, North Carolina, and got to enjoy the scenery and culturize myself. Which, speaking of culture, I don't know if you knew this, but when you are division leaders, which the Jaguars are, you get access to the clubhouse, which I'm currently sitting in.
It's very nice, man. It's
That's
very
right.
nice.
When you are division leaders, pinkies up.
Yeah. Don't try to get in here, Clots fans. Don't try to get in here, Titans fans, especially after that Monday night debacle. Titans fans, you should be embarrassed.
No. So you know what's crazy is I'm a big fan, right? So I'm gonna be biased, but honestly, 100% of me knew that we were gonna win. I'm not saying that out of a fan. Like if I were sitting on the outside looking in as a neutral party, and I had looked at what happened in the previous years between in this specific matchup in Jacksonville, I would have said if I was a gambling man, I would put my money on the Jaguars because history says Jaguars were going to win, and they did win. It's kind of like when the Jaguars are really, really good, you could just guarantee we're going to lose to the Titans. I hate saying that. I really do. All on 99, right?
Right.
We lost 3 games, and they were all to who? It's kind of the same. So that one hurts really bad.
Yeah.
I don't mean to bring that up.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher sucks. I'll just say it till my dying breath. That was the chant we used to do in the stadium when Fisher would come around. It was weird. I had 2 concerns going into the game. And one was just Trevor Lawrence. I'll be honest. I was concerned after his week 1 performance, that thing at the end. He's still young. Is he going to get rattled? Is he going to bounce back? And then Matt Ryan, right? The Jags had never beat Matt Ryan. But if you'd put a gun to my head and asked me were the Jags going to win, I would have said, yeah. I mean, I was 95% certain with a little bit of doubt in there, but it's just weird. I don't understand. So I don't know. It's still, for me, hard to tell. Are the Jags better than we thought? Or than I thought, I guess, or are the Colts just worse than everyone says they are? I don't know, man. The Colts had a lot of injuries. They didn't have Michael Pittman. They didn't have a couple guys on defense whose names escape me at the moment. So I do think we caught a Colts team sort of at the right time. And I think Doug Peterson, what I saw, and the announcers talked about it, you could tell the difference between the first sets of plays that were scripted on offense. Doug Peterson came in with a very specific sort of game plan, I think, to get Trevor Lawrence comfortable and to get the Colts sort of on their heels, and it worked. And you could tell, the only time where there might have been a little bit of doubt during the game for me was the second or third. I think it was the third possession on offense where you could tell they were off the scripts now, and they were calling plays on the fly and reacting to what Indianapolis was doing. And there was a little bit of they didn't look as smooth for a while. They picked it up later. They sort of got in a rhythm. They kept it going, and they did. Early in that game, the Colts had a couple drives where there were some key drops by Colts receivers, and there was a couple mistakes on offense where the Colts were a little bit sustaining a drive, but they just sort of shot themselves in the foot, and then things kept going in the Jags' favor. But when the Jags scored the second touchdown, when they got to 14 points, and it was, I believe it was James Robinson's run that took it in the end zone on that one, you just felt the wind. Even on the TV broadcast, I wasn't in the stadium. Even on the TV broadcast, you just feel the wind come out of the Colts. And listen, these men, they're grown, they're professionals, they're elite level talent. I'm not going to say that they gave up, because I don't think they ever really give up. You could tell that it was another sort of thing where they lost hope. I think, sometimes you just realize that you're beaten, and it felt that way from late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, the Colts just seemed like they knew they were beaten. And I mean, they were still playing, they were playing hard, they were hustling, but I don't know how to describe it, man. The momentum just had fully shifted. And then there was one moment of doubt. The TV announcers talked very briefly as the teams were going into halftime, that the Colts were down 20-3 the week before to the Texans, and they came back and tied that game. And I said, oh, okay, well, maybe Frank Reich and his crew are very good at, second half adjustments. Well, it was not the case. Not the case. They didn't really do much different. I think the big stat that stuck out to me was the time of possession, right? The Jags had it for 38 minutes. The Colts had it for 21. And when you don't have the ball, it's very hard to score points. They just couldn't get the Jags off the field, which is a wonderful sentence to say as a Jaguars fan. I can't hear you, Matt, if you're talking.
I was muted. You can't have a podcast or a Zoom call without someone being muted. You're welcome.
Right. Yep.
No, now I kind of want to go back to what you said about when James Robinson had that run and they kind of lost moment or we gained momentum, right? I think that's a real thing, and I only say that because when you're at this level, this professional level where everyone's elite and the talent level is essentially right there, right? There's not that big of a gap compared to like college, right? There's a massive gap in college, whereas in professional sports in general, I think those little things like momentum is a real thing. And I think we saw that happen on Sunday with James Robinson. Those little nuances, those little things that we talk about that are superstition. I think partially it's real again because everyone is so talented. Every little thing does count. And it also plays to the mental game, right? I'm sure emotions and mental makes a huge difference. And I agree. I think I saw the replay on that. That was a huge play for the Jaguars for that drive as well as for the whole game. But just kind of want to look at some of these comments real quick. Theo White again said he was there. He saw the beatdown. It was amazing. He turned it around. I think when he said you were talking about coach. They didn't finish in DC. I was there. In my opinion, Indy is overrated. I don't know if they're overrated. I think you kind of alluded to it is that they had the injury bug was pretty bad with them. And I would say that's typical for the NFL, but the Colts just have had really bad luck over the past few years with injuries. They've riddled their team. They have a talented team, but I think the injury bug has hit them hard more so than others.
They seem to have a lot of guys out for week 2,
Yeah.
and who am I to criticize? Listen, I'm not criticizing these guys, obviously, but they did seem to have a lot of injuries for the second week in the season. Shout out to Josh Senior. Man, the Colts did play bad. Like, there's no way around it. Like, Matt Ryan was terrible. Like, he was just not good.
Whoa. Pump the brakes on that. The Colts didn't play bad. The Jaguars played great, and the Colts sucked.
Well, yeah, you're getting ahead of me, right? Part of the reason that Matt Ryan wasn't playing well is because the front four for the Jags defense actually got pressure. But not overrated, just inconsistent. Yeah. I mean, listen.
No, you're
Everbank Field's it's a tough place to play, man. I don't know what to tell you. When I say that tongue in cheek, obviously, but I will tell you, I wasn't in the stadium. I don't know what it was like actually there. I heard from a couple people, they said it was pretty loud. It sounded loud on the TV broadcast, right? And I know they pump up some of but I mean, you could hear the crowd. So that was good to see because we're always the defensive scheme seem to really they seem to really have Indy's number on defense. I think that's partly because Michael Pittman was out and partly I think they were the peculiar way in which Jonathan Taylor was utilized by the Colts in that game. I don't know, man. I'm not a Colts fan. I don't know much about their offensive coordinators or whatever, but I don't know. It's not the way I would have thought they were going to try to utilize him. He didn't really seem to touch the ball much at all. They didn't try to, get him in action in like any screen passes or, I don't know. It was just weird. They played right into the Jags scheme, and the Jags offense just sort of held onto the ball. And they just ground them into dust. So, it's one of those things where, you sort of, sorry, my watch is going off there. I don't know what to say about the Colts other than they just didn't seem to play well. I think the Jags played well. The question for the Jags is, can they sustain it? Right. Like, sort of moving on to the Jags defense a little bit. The defense is a +5 in turnover margin, right? Like we are getting the ball away from. They intercepted Matt Ryan 3 times, and they were getting in his face, putting pressure on him. So it was just fun. Like I just had, it was the first time in a long time. It just was a joy to watch the Jaguars play, right? So it was neat.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Jags will have this random crazy defensive effort game. I'll think back to the Pittsburgh game when we picked Ben Roethlisberger off like 3,000 times, and people were talking about he should retire after the game. Remember, like for some reason we'll just have these random games because Matt Ryan, I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's one of the greats of this. Now, he's not Tom Brady. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks of this past 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Like if
Matt Ryan is an upper echelon. He's a top 5, top 10 quarterback.
Right. He's an elite quarterback. I think he's an elite quarterback. If I were rebuilding a team, and I had to be stuck with him, I'd be happy with that. But saying that, go Jags, man. We we beat the brakes off of the Colts. Held them to 0 points. The Colts have been shut out 3 times in their storied franchise history, and all those shutouts have come from the kitty cats, the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's
right. And what's wild is the Colts' inability to win in Jacksonville extends back to when Peyton Manning was still the quarterback. I didn't realize until I looked it up the other day. Like, so going back to, so technically Andrew Luck didn't beat us in Jacksonville.
Oh,
that's wild. Really? It's just wild to think about, like him, like he didn't win in Jacksonville, not once. It's crazy.
Hey, Sam, I'm sure you're happy, just as happy as we are, maybe even happier.
Yeah, I sent her the link. She might hop on. We'll see.
Okay, cool. Just a few thoughts for me for the offense before I move on to the defense. I was super happy to see what Trevor Lawrence was doing, slinging the ball around. It was nice to see that the receivers, the tight ends were catching the balls that were getting thrown to them. Ingram at tight end for me, I think it might be the steal of the offseason for us is Ingram. I think he was a stud coming in. I mean, his numbers showed it. And I think he's done well. It's 2 games, and I'm not going to pump the brakes. I'm a Jags fan who's been living in sorrow for so many years, and so no, I'm going to live this up. We're on top. We're looking down on all the peasants of the AFC South. Every one of y'all are peasants, unless you're Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's right. We're winners until we aren't. I'm
and I don't see y'all in the clubhouse here. Jaguars only. Let's go. For the running back play. Ooh, here we go. So for the running back play, I was super excited to see. They didn't give up on the running game because we have studs at running back. And look,
right, like they didn't seem to be quite as effective, but they tried to stick with it. We got Sammy technical difficulties football in the house. What's up? She was actually at the game, so I asked her to hop on and tell us what. So the knock on Jags fans that we don't show up, right? And we're not there, and we're not loud, we don't care.
I'm so tired of hearing that narrative, but as somebody who's gone to the game since 1995, but yes, go ahead.
So I'm asking you, what was it like? You were there. How was it?
First of all, I want to apologize because I just got off work. So if you're watching this live, please don't judge me for the way I look. It was amazing. It was loud. They did the wave.
Ugh.
When's the last time we saw the wave?
The wave. They always do the wave. I hate the wave. Don't get me started on that. That's a topic for another day.
Listen, I mean, you got the wave in downtown Jax. You didn't even have to go to the beach to see it that day, okay? I surfed it. It was great. I loved every minute. There's nothing more satisfying than the crowd being so amped up and in unison that they all decide to show their unity by doing a wave.
It's gross. I think you're the only person that likes the wave. Nobody likes the wave.
Everybody
the wave is like is like kale. Nobody likes kale, but everybody does it because they feel like they should, right?
Oh, I don't do kale.
Yeah.
Are you assuming my nutrition standards? Because
oh yeah, sorry, didn't mean to assume.
Ugh,
gross. Theo White says it was amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing. It was loud. The energy was. Hold on. I got a rabbit and it's deciding to make noise right now. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear it. We decided to buy a bunny and that was a bad idea. The energy was, I mean, God, I haven't felt a game that good since we were cheering for the Bears to win so that we could tank on purpose.
Well, I don't know. The win last year felt pretty good. The last time, honestly, that it felt that good to watch a Jags team was when we kept the Colts out of the playoffs last year, to be honest. Like, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, that was nice, too. I think there was a mixture of that, of, like, just winning one, finally. The Colts are our Super Bowl.
It's a little sweeter at the beginning of the year, too, because that game last year, the season was over. Like
Yeah.
we weren't doing anything. And yes, it was
Right.
nice to beat the Colts, but I was still very angry at my team for wasting a whole year
Yeah.
bringing in
Well,
Urban
in
Meyer to coach the team.
the Colts, I will say, are one of the few teams that they don't travel. You
Yeah,
don't
not very
see
well.
a lot of Colts fans. Like if it's a Steelers game, so
Yeah.
most people know we're a military town. So there's a lot
Right.
of transplants here, a lot of fans of other teams, and it's not because we are not present.
Well, there is a contingent like that Cowboys game later in the year is going to have a lot of Cowboys
Yeah.
fans. I mean, it just
Yes.
is. There is a contingent, and I found this out the hard way when I had season tickets, of Jag fans who have season tickets who will wear Jags colors until their other team shows up, and then all of a sudden they show up and I don't know how you do that, man. Like that just you seem
Well,
disloyal to me. And
I mean, a lot of you're seeing now the generation, like my generation, who grew up watching the team. We now can afford to buy season tickets, and we're taking our kids. And before, like I remember going with my dad when I was little, and there actually was a guy. It was the same situation. He was a Ravens fan. He was originally from Baltimore. He always wore Jags stuff. He was a Jags fan, but first and foremost, he was a Ravens fan. And I remember when he wore his Ravens stuff, this girl, we actually ended up moving sections after this, but this girl that sat next to us got so mad at him.
Yeah.
Because he was like talking crap, like back and forth, but like friendly banter. And she got so mad that she poured her beer on his head. And my dad's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
Yeah, that's silly, right? Like I'm not,
right. But yeah, I mean, we see it. But that being said, listen, Sunday was amazing.
I can't, I don't want to harp on it too long. So say one day I move to Nashville, right? There's no universe in which I'm buying Titans season tickets and wearing Titan gear except when the Jags come to town. I just don't understand that.
I think that's different. That's different. Like, for instance, I'm a huge Seminoles fan, like Florida State all day, every day. I actually worked at the University of Florida for about a year. I worked for my hated rival. Did I ever wear a shirt? Nope, not once. They gave me free attire all the time, and I said no.
You're a Gator fan deep down.
But I also, so recently I worked at Appalachian State University. If Appalachian State University were to play the Knowles in a game, that would be super tough for me. I might have to Switzerland it up and just be neutral. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is if he decided to move to Buffalo, then he should get Bills tickets and wear Bills gear.
I like tables.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that.
Yeah. I don't
No,
like
if the Jags ever leave Jacksonville, and I don't think they will. That's always the rumor, right? I just go back to being a Tampa Bay fan. I'm I wouldn't do it now. I still have the Jags, but that's where I don't know. I guess for me, it's a death before dishonor sort of thing. I'll have no team before I take on another team's colors.
So Sam, real quick, what was the most in the stadium? So as you know, in the stadium, it's very different feeling than it is watching TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the stadium, what was the most electrifying play in person?
It was probably this is going to sound really weird, okay? But I actually won tickets and I was sitting like I think it was like 7 rows up from the field behind the team, okay? And
is that the field level tickets?
Oh yeah, I was like right
Those
there.
are nice. Yeah,
I was right there.
Yeah.
But that being said, it was almost too close. Does that make sense? Where there was like so much going on that I couldn't like handle it, and the energy was already high. But I will say, the most I don't know because it was a lot, but all the Matt Ryan sacks were just every single one of them.
On TV, the crowd sounded the loudest when Devin Lloyd picked off Matt Ryan. That one towards the end, people seemed to really like go nuts over that one.
Well, so by then I really couldn't give you my take on it because I was celebrating.
Nice.
It seemed to all be the same to me. So John Haw, who's on the AFC South Fan Battle podcast, he so happened to be in Florida from Utah. And I was like, well, come on up for the game. And then I won these tickets. And so me and John Haw, we had the time of our lives.
Nice.
And I had a designated driver, so I took advantage of every minute of it.
Well, that's good.
So Matt Briggs chimed in.
The poor John Haw, he's a huge Matt Ryan fan. So maybe it was like I personally felt the crowd erupt more. But all the Matt Ryan sacks, I would look over at
Did he?
John Hall and I'd be like, "Oh, buddy."
Has anybody checked on him past couple days? Is he all right?
No, I know he went to Universal the next day, so maybe he, found his spirit back on the roller coaster or something.
Oh, we got a comment from Matt Briggs. Anything's better than Mayo being first place. I agree.
Oh,
Mayo gang needs to be sent back to the dregs of the division where they belong.
yes, yes, and they listen. The Titans fans are having meltdowns. I saw it. I saw it.
They're so bad.
There's a post that this one guy said Megan the Stallion was blessed with the knees that Taylor Lewan should have gotten, or something like that. I'm like, what?
That's pretty clever. I hadn't seen that. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But they're losing it, man. They're losing it, and
Poor
I'm here for
babies.
it.
You know, it couldn't happen to a more deserving fan base. Suck on it,
Seriously.
Titans.
Seriously.
So, Sam, another question. In-person game. Are you noticing a difference on the sideline with the new coaching staff? Like the vibe that you get from the sideline versus when Urban Miller was there?
Urban Miller, yeah. I just think in general, like they just look happier. They're more organized. They're happier. They're syncing. Like before, you used to get like on social media, we would see pictures of them doing outings together, but for the most part, they were just kind of there during the games. I mean, even the games were just kind of they were quiet. There was no like eruption because nothing major was happening. It was just a team that was making money that showed up to play on Sundays.
The whole vibe, at least from watching on TV, felt more like the 2017 team
Yeah,
in the past few years.
like you've got like them like high-fiving each other, and I mean, a great game to get my take on that because I'm standing right behind them. I mean, they're stopping and signing autographs, going in and out of the tunnels, and just like hyped, and it was great to see it. This definitely is not the Urban Meyer Jaguars. It's definitely not the Doug Marrone end of era Jaguars or the Gus Bradley Jaguars.
Oh my gosh.
It feels like an NFL team.
Matt says
what it feels like.
they're doing better because they're not getting kicked before the games. Amen.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
Urban Meyer was our best kicker.
Also, I think our coach actually knows who Aaron Donald is, so that's a
I
plus.
would hope so. That was so pathetic.
Dude, I don't know why they haven't. ESPN hasn't rolled out like 12 30 for 30s just for last year. For
Bro, can you even imagine? And they're talking. Nebraska supposedly is talking to Urban about taking the Nebraska job, and I just can't. I can't imagine why you would hire this man. I just don't see it. Don't get it.
Desperation,
Yeah, and not a whole lot of options, I guess, maybe, but
I guess.
it's wild. All right, Jags defense was dominant, right? They switch gears to those guys a little bit. Josh Allen, the good Josh Allen, was all over the field. 2 sacks. I think he had like 2 forced fumbles or 2 tackles for loss or something. I forget what the official stat line was, but you could tell he was not happy with the way things went down the week before, just the way he played on the field. Trayvon Walker, listen, he didn't show up on the stat sheet, but the man was everywhere. Like he didn't have a sack, he didn't have an interception or anything flashy, but like just the whole line play was solid. Obviously Devin Lloyd interceptions, like they knew where to be. There were no glaring mistakes. Nobody was out of position. Nobody was getting beat deep.
Not even Wingard.
Yeah, that guy. Don't even get me started on that guy. But I don't know, man. It was just sort of a dominant performance. The same as with the offense. They just looked like they were in control. They were controlling what was happening, and the Colts really never had a chance to.
Well, the one thing I'll say too, I know we're talking defense, but I will say, not to backtrack, but the accuracy of Trevor Lawrence's game. Versus
Yeah,
last
we
game.
talked a little bit about the first couple of drives. The TV announcers were saying they talked to Doug Peterson, and those plays were all scripted plays, and you could tell they were in part scripted to get Trevor comfortable and throwing passes that he could easily make, and then they were also in part just to test to get the Colts on their heels a little bit and keep them guessing.
Well, each it seemed like the defense didn't. So I think last game the defense, we could have easily had that game, but we were gassed. Like our defense was tired. They were on the field for too long, and I think the way that the offense played this game, it allowed our defense to
Correct. 38
rest.
minutes time of possession.
Yeah.
The defense was only on the field for 21 minutes, and it seemed like it made all the difference in the world at the end. That's one of the
Right.
reasons that the Colts and they didn't let their foot off the gas. The Texans the week before started playing prevent. We all know what prevent gets you. It all does is prevent you from winning. And the Jags defense, they did not seem to change their scheme. They kept bringing pressure with the front four. There was an occasional blitz. They did not back off and give tons of room to the Colts to do what they wanted. And Theo White, I think, said it best. They just all day got after and harassed Matt Ryan. And there was one point where they had sacked Matt Ryan so hard that it looked like he was injured. And that is a little bit of a tradition in that win streak at home against the Colts. We have injured a whole bunch of Colts quarterbacks over the years when they've come into Jacksonville. And it's usually towards the end of the year. And I think what it is for some reason, I think the franchise focuses the rage of their impotent seasons on the Colts for some reason, and we just seem to unleash everything we have on this team every time they come to town. And I'm here for it. But I just you could tell there was work going into the scheme on defense, just like there was on offense. They sort of had an idea what the Colts were going to do, and there just was never a point where I was worried that the Colts were going to get anything going.
Well, I mean, the best stat of the entire game, right? Like out of the best number, we'll say, out of the whole entire game is the Colts scored 0
points.
0.
And that was really the only tension in the game for me. I was like, keep the shot out. Come on, fellas. Yeah. Don't let them have anything. Like even towards the end, like they had the ball, like don't let them get in field goal range. Don't let them kick. But
so a few things there. I thought it was interesting in the beginning. The Colts were driving pretty good a few times. They had a couple good drives, but the Jaguars always stopped them. So they bent, but they never broke, right? In years past, the Jaguars would bend and then break and then bend and break and break, and they just break, and the floodgates would open and we'd lose. The Jaguars, we talked about it last week. They looked like a legit NFL team. Like they knew that they were doing. Like they had a game plan, a coach that was competent. And I think the defense fed off the offense. The defense came to play because they know, hey, let me get the ball back in Trevor Lawrence's hand because I have confidence that they're going to put the ball in the end zone. They're not going to take our running back out because they want to put Carlos Hyde in. Like there's just so many good things this year just by putting a new coach in. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
that's got to be a real thing. And listen, I've never played in an NFL game, obviously. That's got to be a real thing when your defense is pretty good and they're performing, and then the offense can't get into the end zone, right? That's got to be frustrating as a defensive player, saying, "Come on, guys, we're getting these stops. You got to give us something. Like you got to let us get some rest, put some points on the board." And I do think that was a big the fact that the Jags got out early and they scored 14 points. You could tell it just freed up the defense to come without having to worry, right? Like they didn't have to play, as the Gators coach has famously said, even though they're not doing too hot this year, scared money don't make money. They didn't have to play from a conservative sort of standpoint. They were able to be aggressive. They were able to take a few risks with blitz and things like that, or with blitzes, and it just paid off. It was just all around fun.
And then real quick so last week, I kind of want to talk about this every week. Aiden Hutchinson. Last week, Aiden Hutchinson versus Walker, right? Most fans wanted to see Hutchinson in a Jags uniform, but we ended up with Walker. And last week I had said, even after Walker's terrific performance and Hutchinson didn't even show up on the stat sheet, I would still, if it were today, draft Aiden Hutchinson over Walker. And then you saw this past week, Hutchinson, as far as the stat sheet goes, Hutchinson outperformed Walker on the stat sheet. Hutchinson had, I think, 3 sacks. The guy affected every facet of the game when it came to the defense. Walker, though, as you said, he was the numbers aren't there, but he was all over the field and he was in the plays. So I think that'll be an interesting comparison to keep looking at, keep an eye on throughout the season. But again, here week 2, I would still go back and draft Aiden Hutchinson. Knowing what I know today, I would still pick Hutchinson. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would still take Aiden Hutchinson all day. I still listen. It was nice to see that Trayvon Walker was getting double teamed, right? Which freed up other players on the defensive line to make plays, which is not something you see with a whole lot of rookies. But I'm telling you right now, I still have the same long-term concerns about Trayvon Walker. And listen, I would love to be wrong. He is strong, he's powerful, he's fast, he's long. But can he eventually, there's going to be enough tape on what little technique he has for good offensive linemen to defend him, right? Defend against him. So the question is, can he grow and develop and become a smart player, a player who has advanced techniques and skill sets to get around some of the stuff they're going to throw at him long term? Whereas Aiden Hutchinson already has that, right? And the question with Aiden Hutchinson was more around, can he bull rush guys? Can he really get low on some of these big offensive linemen? And I think in that game, he gave you a little bit of evidence. I still say, people all this past week after that first game were basically putting Trayvon Walker in the Hall of Fame. Like, this guy's going to the Hall of Fame. Aiden Hutchinson's a bust. And now, you didn't hear a lot of in the various fan groups, people chirping about Walker this week. He didn't have a bad game. But he is a rookie in the NFL, and I still say, and I stand by it, at the end of this season, the numbers will tell the tale, right? And we will see if Aiden Hutchinson or Trayvon Walker, perform better, and then from there on, even we'll continue to see.
Gonna make me look up. I gotta look up his stats now.
Who?
Trayvon
Walker. Yeah, he didn't have any sacks. He didn't have any interceptions. So it wasn't a bad game. If you watch
compare them from last week.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all.
Walker had let me see. He had 2 solo tackles and 1 QB hit, so he got in the backfield at least once.
Yeah, he was there putting pressure. He was getting double teamed, and he was where he was supposed to be doing his job, right? And the job of defensive lineman isn't always to get sacks. That's what you want the unit itself to generate, and that's what they did. Right, they were in Matt Ryan's face all day. So we'll see.
But listen, when you're drafting number 1 overall, you're not looking for a guy who helps add to the defense. You're looking for a guy that is the defense, right? You're looking for a guy that you could put 2 guys on me, I'm still going to put up 3 sacks on you. You're looking for Watt, and that's what we were hoping out of. That's what we think the NFL could get out of Hutchinson, right? Like, Walker could be. When you're drafting that high, you're looking for the one-trick pony. You don't need a guy who's a Swiss Army knife, right? You look for those hidden gems in the 2nd and 3rd, 4th rounds, right? Number 1 overall, you're going to pick that guy that's amazing at one thing. Yeah. And this year was Aiden Hutchinson getting at the most important position in all of sports, some might say, at the quarterback, right? Affect the game the most. So, again, I'm like you. I hope Walker has a Hall of Fame career before the season's over, right? Like, I hope nothing but the best for him. But again, sitting right now, week 2, knowing what I know now, I would still pick Hutchinson over Walker. But I'm not paid millions of dollars to make those decisions. For some reason, Balky is, and that the assistant, right? Didn't who did they hire for the assistant? Do you guys remember?
I don't remember. No.
Oh, they didn't. That's right. The owner came out and said he was going to hire somebody else, and never heard of that again.
I still wonder in an alternate universe where what the.
Oh gosh.
Oh no, Tony Khan came to the game.
Hey, Sam, we have a.
He actually tweeted a picture of him outside of the stadium.
Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson wants to remind you, Sam, that you love Jalen Ramsey.
Who is that woman? I've never heard of her.
Jalen Ramsey, never heard of her.
Never heard of that woman. She sounds pretty.
Yeah. She sounds pretty.
She sounds like she got smoked.
Yeah,
by the Bills.
Matt Briggs agrees that Hutch could be another JJ Watt, and and the question is,
he's a Texans fan, so
yeah.
Or he used to know.
He's also a Cardinals fan.
Now you're just somebody that I used to.
Oh,
know.
Matt Briggs showing us a little love too. Jags and Texans will be the top 2 teams in the next couple of years, honestly. And we don't even have to be that good to do it, apparently, because the Colts and the Titans are.
But we are that good.
Well, that's just icing on the cake, man. Like,
Sam, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm sitting in the clubhouse for division leaders only.
Oh, yes.
Matt Briggs says, like Sam's son, he's a JJ Watt fan.
My son is a JJ Watt fan, unfortunately.
Number 5 on the field, number 1 in Sam's heart. That's right, Jalen Ramsey. Hashtag Jalen Squad.
Oh, that's really funny that Chris Jackson's commenting on how much I love Jalen Ramsey and all they.
That's all he's got. Listen,
that's all he's got because he's on his third washed up quarterback, and You know, he's still just really sad about Andrew Luck. I don't think they'll ever get over that, you know?
Yeah.
Just like I won't ever get over Jalen Ramsey. And
All right,
you know,
switching gears, Sam. Since you're still on with us, are we beating the Chargers or not?
oh,
That's a
okay.
no.
So historically, the Jaguars are really bad about playing on the West Coast.
Yep.
We are not good at that.
Yep. Never beaten the
We're
Chargers in
coming
California.
high off of a win that we knew we were going to win. Although, as much as I think that everybody knew we were going to win because we always beat the Colts at home, and that's like a ha-ha, I think there was the Colts had the biggest question mark in the division, I think, starting this season. And so did the Texans, because the Colts, you know, with Jonathan Taylor and all that, like, which I don't know why they didn't play him as much as they should have.
Yeah, it was perplexing.
Yeah, it was very strange. But I think, you know, there was a big question mark behind it. I think coming high off of that win, even though, like I said, we knew but didn't quite know that we were going to win that game, but seeing how good we can be, and the team being hyped and
Come on, give us an answer. You're dancing around it. We gonna beat them or not?
Say it.
All right, I'll say it. We're gonna beat the Chargers. You hear that? You hear that, Justin Herbert? We're coming for you, buddy. You better hide your ribs. You better hide your bruises because
is he
Jaguars
playing?
are coming.
Is he playing?
Oh, he's playing. I'd bet you money he's playing. They can't afford to fall behind the Chiefs. The Chiefs are on a hot streak. They can't afford to lose a game to, you know, a team that they're going to look at as a terrible team. So you heard it here first on the Jaguar. We are beating the Chargers. Let me look right in the camera. Beat them. Beat them. There's no way.
I think if we beat them, it's going to be very close, extremely close, if at all.
Listen.
Prior to the season, I did not have us projected to win that game.
Oh, Matt Briggs has a good stat. Travers 0-9 on the road. Last QB to win their first away game before number 10 was Peyton.
Yeah, Peyton Manning.
Mr. Manning. Oh,
and
man.
Actually, I think that stat actually goes bigger than that. Let me find it. Because it's like literally a side-by-side. If I can find it.
Chris Jackson's throwing more shade at you. I also
always
got
throwing
stories
shade
about
at
how
me.
Hank isn't safe after Jags victories. I don't even want to know what that means. You and Chris Jackson can.
It's because my daughter's name is London. And she got her name from us beating the Ravens in London. That's where it comes
I
from.
got you. All right. Well, there we go. That's a glimpse
Trevor
into.
Lawrence is 0-9 on the road, and he will try to get his first road win Sunday against the Chargers. The only quarterback to lose his first 9 road starts and win his 10th, Peyton Manning, who beat the Chargers in week 3 of his second season.
All right, Matt, what's your prediction? We beating them?
Dude, this is tough. I'll be honest, man. Like the Chargers as a whole, they are a legit unit. Herbert is legit. Their defense is nasty.
Their offensive line is very good too.
Like they are just from top to bottom, like they're amazing. But then you look at their 2 previous games, like they eked it out against the Raiders, who aren't looking that hot, and they lost to the freaking Cowgirls, like by a lot. Oh, that's the preseason. Yeah. It's the preseason. Okay. So no, man, I don't know, man. This is tough.
I know, that's what I said.
But here's the thing, like, if they put it all together, we're toast. Like we're toast. I'm gonna say the Chargers are gonna win because, like you said, like West Coast, we just aren't good. Like
Yeah.
I was telling Josh before we got on. This is a throwback. If we moved Alltel Stadium, that's right, Alltel Stadium.
That's right.
Yes, that is.
Dug it up, put it in LA, and brought all of our fans, I still feel like we would lose because it's West Coast. It's just like the Colts lose in Jacksonville. We lose to the Titans when we win every other game in a season. We don't win on the West Coast.
Well,
I'm telling you now, if that what I just read, comparing him to Peyton Manning, and if we win that game, I'm going to start calling him Trevor Manning. I'm just throwing that out there. That's going to be
Trevor Manning.
He's going to be Trevor Manning.
I don't know who this is, but is this actually live or are they just broadcasting over live? I don't know what that sentence means, but yes, this is live right now, live as it happens.
It's if it comes through as Facebook user, that's in the AFC South Fan Battle group.
Oh yes, it's
a
live.
private group.
Fan battle group user person.
Wait, what?
Matt Briggs with the big prediction. Jags by 50. We're winners until we aren't.
I actually almost went to the game.
I think it's going to be close, and we're going to win by a field goal.
I'm still considering going to the game this Sunday because I'll actually be in San Diego. So I was thinking about making a trip up to LA.
A lot of people are thinking the way Chris Jackson thinks. If Herbert's 100% healthy, then the Chargers are going to win.
I don't even think Herbert could not be 100%. Like if their defense is firing on cylinders, like there's going to be hardly any team that can stop that offense. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Oh, Cody says Jags by 50 also.
That's what I love. I love to see that.
Who have they played? The Chargers. Who have they played this year so far?
Let's see. Who cares, right?
A great question.
By the way, if you're a Chargers fan and you're watching, I hate Chargers fans.
If you're a Chargers fan and you're watching, I don't even know how you got here. Like, that's amazing. I don't know how you found this, but bravo.
The San Diego Chargers of LA.
The Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs. That was a close game too.
The Chiefs won by a field goal.
27-24.
The Raiders. Which was
I don't think the Raiders are good. Everyone's high on the Raiders. No. I don't think the Raiders are good, but whatever.
No, they didn't have a good week 2. The Chiefs are a pretty dang good team. I don't know if you guys watched Patrick Mahomes, but that guy is crazy.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
Kidding.
I don't know if you watched like that game.
Of his brother.
I swear to you, when the Jags play the Chiefs this year, do they play the Chiefs this year? They're on the schedule, aren't they? We're playing Kansas City this year, or are we not? I don't remember.
In Kansas City.
Sad. Yeah, it's in Kansas City. If any one of our idiot cornerbacks says something along the lines of, if they want that smoke, it'll get there, I'm going to lose my stuff, because the last time Mrs. Ramsey was on the team and he was talking to the cheetah, and he was like, oh, if he wants that smoke, it'll get there. And like, dude, shut up. Like, shut up. Like, the Chiefs are not a team that you trash talk. You just go in and you try to do your job.
See, here's another stat.
November 13th is when we play them.
Here's another stat. The Jags have lost 18 consecutive road games.
That's wild. That's crazy.
And we're 3-15 on the West Coast.
That's just statistically improbable. Like 18 straight road games. Like
we're 0-5 against the Chargers on the road. So we're gonna win, right?
Yeah, but what is their stats against the Chargers since they've been?
I gotta go figure out who this user is. How do I get out of the AFC South group chat? Because like I can't see anyone else. I don't know what that means. Call Facebook. I'm not sure what to tell you.
Streaks are meant to end. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just, man, it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game. If we were to win, I think we have a chance, just because we have a really good coach in place. He's had some good game plans. Trevor Lawrence is really stepping up to the plate. The wide receivers are catching the balls. Our defense is firing all cylinders. If we can just not kick the kicker, we might have a chance.
Matt Briggs wants us to come out to KC. I don't know that I could take that whooping in person, man. I don't know that I could do it. When we get better,
that's a great Arrowhead.
I've always wanted to go to that stadium, though. I do. Theo says streaks are meant to end. I agree. We'll see. I'm more confident that the Jags will beat the Chargers than I am that they could beat the Eagles.
Oh, interesting.
The Eagles will look pretty good. The Eagles, I'm telling you, man, Jalen Hurts.
I would pick them to win over the Eagles over the Chargers, but I just think the Chargers, just because from top to bottom, they're just such a really good team.
Michael Roach says, "Hey y'all, Duval, baby, Duval bang 'em," as they, the saying goes. All right, so do we want to talk about our contest a little bit? The social media.
Yeah, guys. So this is our second episode. The Jaguar. This is our first season. We are young and bushy-tailed. We are ready to take on the world. We are division leaders. Welcome to the clubhouse winners.
Number one. As
we look down upon our peasants. But anyways, so we have all social medias. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, MySpace, LiveJournal, Photo Bucket,
LiveJournal.
You name it, we're there.
Friendster.
If you guys follow us, we will put you in the top 8. No, once we hit 100, I think it's 1,000 subscribers in each. We are going to be doing a giveaway for each separate social media account, and that giveaway will be $25 gift card. Most likely, it'll be to I was about to say Fan Battle, to Fanatics. And all you have to do, literally, just take 2 seconds, go and hit subscribe, and you're in. It's all it takes.
Yeah, man.
And we'll put you in the list. And each platform will have its own separate giveaway, so you'll have a chance at all of them. Find that MySpace login, everybody.
every 10,000
Please don't
subscribers,
find
we're
my
gonna
MySpace.
send an entire case of mayonnaise to a random Titans fan too. So
I
it's
think it
not
needs
just
to be
love
this
we'll show to
Chris
the Jags
O'Quinn
fans.
that's commenting on here.
And again, a
He's a Titans fan.
huge shout out to our wonderful sponsor, Manscaped. Again, let's see if I can find it. Use our code FANBATTLE at manscaped.com, and you will get 20% off of your order and free shipping. Free shipping.
Even
That sounds
if you're in the
logistically
UK.
pleasing, Matthew Grieve.
It does.
Well, I'm not sure how to take that, but it's 20% off and it's free shipping, even to Canada. That's right.
Oh,
We could be nice too, right?
hey, sounds good.
But anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate Sam coming on and giving her perspective of her
Anytime.
sober perspective of the game. And any
Up to
other
the
words?
end of the third quarter.
Any words from you guys? Hey, at least the reason you weren't sober anymore is because of joy, not because of sorrow, right?
That is true, because I had the time of my life Sunday. I did.
That's right. So, any more words last words from y'all?
Yes. One last comment. Chris Jackson says, I'm going to create 9,000 burner accounts just to subscribe so RJ Ellison receives endless mayo. Darn
Yeah,
right. Let's go.
That's fine. Do it.
Hashtag mayo gang.
Subscribe, like, and if you hit a comment too, that'd be freaking-tastic. But any other words from you guys?
Nope. Go Jags.
Duval.
That's right.
Wait, what was that?
See you guys next week when we're 2-1 and on top of the division.
Oh gosh, that was weak. We
can't
can't
say it
go
too
out
loud.
on that. We can't go out on that, Duval.
I can't say it too loud.
Okay.
Yeah, I got kids,
I
man.
got
I can't
sleeping
yell it.
children.
Next time we do a live broadcast and it's not late at night, I'll hit you with the best Duval you ever heard. But
Ooh.
today's not that day.
I'm tinkling. Ooh,
yes.
goosebumps just because he said that.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.